shoulders and arms today for you, Philadelphia. This feels like I'm pandering a little bit, but I promise there's a lesson in all this. First of all, I want to thank all of you for coming out. This is a strong crew. We're gonna have fun tonight. So look, my Philly history, whenever we do these live shows, there's usually a reason, right? You're like, I used to live there. I worked there. I have friends there. I have like no history with Philadelphia. I've been here a total of, prior to this last 24-hour stretch, I've been here combined 8 hours in my entire life. Which, of course, when you're from Massachusetts, you're like, expert, nailed it. The OGs remember that I had a little stint in Trenton, not in prison. I worked for a minor league baseball team. I was making $201 a week, and entertainment options were limited. And so one guy was like, I think we have indoor lacrosse tickets tonight in Philadelphia. And I was like, in. I love to explore. I want to see what it's like. I'm also in Trenton a lot, so let's try Philadelphia out. And I was like, how much is it going to send me back? He's like, probably the paycheck. And I was like, all right, great. So went out, lacrosse, bar, didn't talk to anybody, went home. It was like, it's my kind of town. It's great. And then the next time, that same year, I somehow backed into a Celtics-Sixers ticket, and I went to the game by myself, my sick Durango with mass tags on it, parked it outside where all the parking is, you understand, and I think you guys won, came back, my car was covered in garbage, and the battery was dead. Was asking people to jump it, and they were like, with mass tags, like, go fuck yourself. I went up to a dad, was like, he of course is gonna wanna teach his kids some sort of lesson here of helping out the enemy. And he was like, yeah, I gotta jump for you. And then they actually drove by in a minivan, like waving at me, being like, we're not helping. So that was my first 8 hours in Philadelphia. And I was like, you know what, it's like a meaner Boston. It makes a lot of sense. But the thing I started to realize a little bit later on, as I became a student of the game, the history. Like New York's always talking so much about their standing. And I was at the Revolutionary War Museum today and I thought, I go, you know, those guys can kind of fuck off. They gave up their entire city to the British, like all the way to White Plains. And I know you guys had your moments, but like you had Brandywine, you stuck it out, you got what you needed to do. Look, back in Boston, we gave up the harbor, we got it back. At least we fought for it. So it reminded me of my own personal history and why I'm psyched to be here and why I'm wearing this jersey, because it all ties in. My first love was this man. Now, growing up in New England and having your dad be a lifelong Celtics fan, and like your first awareness moment, I was 7. Dr. J is the coolest thing in the world. I have the Sixers are going for 70 Sports Illustrated hanging in my bedroom. And I'm like, I'm all in. Let's go Sixers. And they smoke everybody. And I'm so happy. And my dad's like, you're going to regret this. I was like, well, you're an idiot because Moses is the best. And of course, that was an expressway into my next love, my all-time, who will never be replaced unless I have a son who's a professional athlete, but the clock is ticking, so I don't even know if I'd be around for it. But there's just never gonna be anybody like Chuck to me, because you're still young enough, you're so impressionable, and it wasn't just his game and his ferocity, it was his personality. And honestly, it was so impactful and impressionable on me at that time. I was like, you know what I like is he just says exactly how he feels all the time. And if you do it long enough, and I have a theory on this, the Charles theory, that if you're just you long enough, then eventually you just kind of get away with it and everybody catches up to you. I love Chuck so much that once I hit puberty, I actually grew a mustache. I was a late bloomer. I kept forgetting who that was. No, he's my guy, he's my guy. Don't wear that shirt a lot anymore, but yeah. I don't even know. So that picture's so bad, we just wanted to put one in where I look good. I thought I looked good. There's a reason we put in one where I was like, okay, that one's not the worst picture. The irony of this picture is, you know the like Lakers chain guy when he's at the games and he dangles the chain. Actually, if none of you know, that's even better. But he came up to me at the ESPYs party, which I love that the ESPYs like, oh, we don't want to hire, like, let's not bring anybody who works for the company. Let's make sure Lakers chain guys at the party. He was like, hey, can I get a picture with you? And he was nice enough. I was like, no problem. And then he posted it later that night and was like, Russillo was begging me for this picture. Like, no, I wasn't. Like, wait, but you posted it and I don't have it. So that's tough to do. But then I started to kind of have a difficult relationship with the city again because I missed out on all the Celtics stuff. I missed out on all the Bird stuff. I'm sitting there arguing with my friends about the 82, 83 Sixers team. They're like, dude, I actually think they're better than all those Lakers and Celtics teams. They're like, really? Didn't they trade everybody in 86? And I'm just so mad at recess after the 86 draft and getting rid of Moses and getting rid of the number 1 pick and thinking about Brad Daugherty and Charles Barkley and Moses Malone being the front line. I'm like, how could a team ever be that fucking stupid? So it planted some negative seeds and then became a Suns fan and then a Rockets fan as I chased a ring with Barkley for all those years. And then I didn't really think about you all that much. Then I started thinking about you again more recently. Then it got pretty dark. It got pretty dark. My relationship with the city was challenging at times. I like to be fair. I like to be honest. Stern but fair. And it's tough for me, too, because I'm a loyal guy, and this is my coach. He was my coach in the NBA Celebrity Game. And he was a very... He was a hands-off coach. He was very player-friendly. He spent the entire time checking out people in the stands, and I didn't have any stats at halftime, and I was like, there's no way I can go back on the radio with like 1 point. So I just went up to him like, James, I got a dilemma. I got to get back in there and get some shots up. I have to, like, empty stats, like you get it. And he was like, he just looked at me, and I was like, all right, I'm in. I LeBron'd him, went right to the scorer's table. Some kid from Hunger Games, I was like, James wants you on the bench. I'm going to ride this one out. But to be honest, despite my, I guess, I should say difficult relationships with James, I sympathize with him here. I sympathize with him because of the way geometry can work. That's a year and a half ago. I have no fucking clue how that picture exists. It's a live show at Salt Lake. I saw the shot and I was horrified. I started trying to say like, well, after a certain age, powerlifting, you start to develop this upper abdomen thing that's not really. So when I saw this, I started thinking about today and James and loving walking around the city. I did the whole city. Well, I can't say I did the whole city. That'd be a lie. But I spent a lot of time here. A lot of time today walking around, taking it all in. And I was like, should I get a cheesesteak? And then I thought about this picture. And I was like, I'm hungry, but I'm hungry for knowledge. I hope you guys get the joke that I was trying to make this look as bad as possible. Mission accomplished. But yes, I was hungry to get back to that point where historically I was aligned and in love with Philadelphia again, just like the 7-year-old. So let's have a night. We got Chris Long. We've got Kyle coming up. Ceruti's gonna join us. We have life advice, and we'll do a Q&A, so we got a long ways to go. Let me change out of this because I'm not wearing it all night. And thanks to all you guys for showing up, all right? Hello, Chris.
Hi, Ryan. Glad to see you changed. My wife, I was texting her, I sent her a picture. She's like, I didn't see that coming. Sleeveless shirt for Ryan.
Yeah, Liner was on the other day just saying like what a loser move it was. So I was a little motivated by that. I also want to thank our guys at Mitchell and Ness for getting the perfect fit and the perfect hat for you.
And I got the sticker still on because, you know.
All right. I got to make sure that I keep the other people happy. I want to thank State Farm for even having these live shows and setting them up for us.
Farm.
So yeah, guys cheer for State Farm. They're going to be thrilled about that. But yeah, it's good. I can't even say it's good to be back because it's really like my first time.
I heard it's your first time here.
It's kind of today's actually like my first time other than those other two.
It's kind of the best city in the world. I'm not kissing up. It kind of is. Other than my little hometown of Charlottesville where I decided to live, I mean, if I had to move, I'm coming here. This is the best big city in the world, best sports town in the world, best sports city in the world.
You do really love it here, though.
Dude, it's not even a
I know.
bit. Like, people be like, stop sucking up. I'm like, bro, I love this place.
I knew.
Like, I loved it when I like moved here.
Yeah, you were happy here.
I was happy.
I don't want to turn it back into everything we've always talked about in the past, but there was a North Attleboro Chris, and then there was a Philly Chris, and I noticed there was a
Philly's Chris is happier.
Yeah, there was a distinct difference. Do we start with a bird's autopsy here?
They're not dead. What do we think, y'all? This is like a town hall meeting. I love you guys and gals. I mean, I'm gonna say, yeah, listen, I mean, yeah, can we get AJ back? I mean, where do you want to start? With the defense or the offense? Because if I go first on Jalen or the coach...
No, let me set it up the way, like, look, I watch them a lot because they're on a lot, the NFC East rule. So even when you're not a Eagles fan, like, again, I know more about the Giants than I ever want to know.
Yeah. The other night was just... Anyway.
No, I did a Giants rant a couple years ago where I was just like, you gotta stop. So then you look at the ratings, that's why they're on all the time. But when you look at the record last year and they're winning some games where there's some alarming things, then it always kind of defaults back to like, the point is to win the game.
Right.
And then all of these games they were winning in these absurd ways, and you're like, do I still like them? Like, look at that record, look at all the talent. And with the way a season can change with injuries, and I still look at the roster and the depth chart and go like, how can this team be bad? And the fact that they weren't more up for the rematch against the Bucks this weekend, this is the most rattled I've been about who they might be this year.
Dude, listen, I said this on my pod. If it was college football, I would stop accepting money to come down to Tampa. Like, it's just a house of horrors, man. Like, we went down there in 2018 and got our asses kicked. They were firing the cannon. Can I cuss on this show?
Yeah.
They were firing the fucking cannon. I still have hearing loss from that day. They went up top to Deshaun Jackson like it was 2010. And we were just like, the game was played on their script. And I think the one thing you knew coming in was like, if we're going to play it on their script, we're going to lose. And that comes down to like, listen, when you do an autopsy, as you put it, it's always more than just one guy didn't do his job or this guy doing it. And nobody's saying what Jalen and Nick were dealt was fair. But if you want to be great, last time I checked, you were going on the road to win a fucking football game. And last week, you were able to do that. So once you show me that you can win shorthanded, even, like, look at the New Orleans game. Look at how many mistakes they made and still won. So it was a team-building win. It was a confidence-building win. It was an affirming win. But you can't go do the same shit the next week. And so that, to me, is like, when you get in the first quarter, and I'll contextualize all this with Jalen and Nick, but in a vacuum, you're down your best three guys on offense, and you have an opportunity, play one, to find Saquon on Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who I'm not throwing any shade. He's a defensive end, man-to-man with Saquon. And his head is turned towards Jalen, and he's lost Saquon behind him. We just need to be more realistic about what it is. I'm not saying he's not the guy or you need to find a replacement. You make decisions in the NFL and then you live with them and you build around those decisions, because I know that in the media, we all get to say, is he the guy every Tuesday? But it doesn't matter. You're locked in. So what are you going to do to win with this guy who's not seeing the field right now, in my opinion? And all his mistakes happen later in the down. And my point about that game is, yeah, the game is out of hand. It's a barn burner. Well, I don't know if you call that barn burner. It was
not normally.
Yeah. No, it's your house is on fire is what I'm thinking about. And when you're in a situation like that on the road, you can't miss your opportunities. The game script changes dramatically when you miss that opportunity, when the next possession on P10, which is the first down of the possession, you miss Dallas Goedert, or he misses the ball. I'm not putting that on Jalen necessarily. 30-16, again, don't care how you got here, but when Davante David runs by me with Saquon, like, in his hands, he's gonna be on your throwing hand in a half second. You know, it sounds easy to be like Monday morning quarterback and be like, take off, but I like Jalen when he's decisive. So that's first thing. And Saquon should touch the ball more than 12 times in a game, okay? Okay, the run the damn ball thing, don't worry, I was gonna get there. And I'm not blaming the offense for what the defense is doing. But you have limitations. You're gonna have to outscore some people. And so it's not over. I think you'd use a nickel corner. You know, like that's a big deal in today's NFL. That position is premium. We've been giving up a lot to slot receivers. I think Jalen Carter has to be Jalen Carter every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think the kid can be special, but once I see it, I want it every week.
Right.
And the other guys, like, I can't be mad at Josh Sweat. I can't be mad at Bryce Huff. Like, they made that move. You paid him all that money. Like, he is who, no, and Bryce, no, you guys are like, don't be mad at Bryce. Be mad at the people that brought him here. Be mad at the people that brought him here. Because I guarantee you he's not trying to fuck it up. There's nobody up front outside that can win rushes right now. And like, that's the point. That if you design the team differently, we're not so mad at Bryce Huff. Losing and watching a quarterback bake a cake in the backfield, organizations, institutions are designed perfectly for the outcome. And so in this situation, what can you do? You can play tighter coverage. Vic's a little bit more conservative, but guys got to win rushes too. And I'm not going to get mad at Josh Sweat and Bryce Huff like they can change the whole game because they're not going to wake up tomorrow and be Myles Garrett. You designed the team this way. You got to figure out some shit.
Speaking of corners, when you were frustrated, say, in St. Louis, did you ever tweet your career stats?
Say that again. I was thinking about, I could not believe the faces I was getting with Bryce Huff.
That's why I kind of was like, this is Philly. This is Philly.
I know it landed.
I'm referencing Big Play Slay.
Oh, you know what?
That didn't seem to be like a team building exercise.
Bro, I'm not gonna down the guy because I always I like to talk about people the way they treated me, and like he came on my show and we clicked and it was great.
It sucks for me because everybody likes you.
You know what? But like when I have a DB on, or wide receiver, like the disconnect between a lineman and a skill guy can be pretty.
See, this was actually one of my favorite things. We were doing the pod every Monday, going back 5 years ago. Like, and I had Kelsey on, right? And I was like, can you just spend 5 minutes on what actually happens, why you making the call for Jalen is beneficial because you're so good at it, but it also kind of like starts the quarterback 10 seconds later than he needs to be.
Yeah.
And once he finally explained it to me, I was like, hey, that was amazing. Like, how am I like in my late 40s and I watched this game for this long and I've never heard anybody, all I just hear is like, oh, that guy makes the calls, he's great at it. Like, what is it? And then whenever I would hear like, and this isn't even football, working at ESPN with all these former athletes, and they'd be like, man, they made the right adjustments. And I was like, you know what? I've been hearing this whole adjustments thing for years. I've never heard one of you ever say what the actual adjustment was. Well, but this is the point of like getting to know you.
Yeah, we're not pressed to do that usually.
But what was funny was when I started doing the show with Chris, I was like, can you tell me about these mysterious adjustments that always seem to happen when the team wins? And he just goes, yeah, that's all the guys in the back. Like, I never knew any of those.
It's the back end guys, like, we're going to make adjustments up front. Like, for instance, they made an adjustment going to New Orleans game, which I thought was good, but it was not a fit for going to Tampa, where if you notice, they played 3 guys down inside, and they basically built a 5-man front.
See, there you go. There's an adjustment.
No, and they gap out because, like, you play New Orleans, they're going to get 2-3 guys out in the route. The main thing with New Orleans is, and this is going to end in some bad news with the Tampa matchup, but like the main thing with New Orleans is if you strangle the run game, you can make Derek Carr as you understand him. And you can make them get 2-3 guys out in the route max. And if you can convert and play action, great. But then the next week, you got to stop. And Bucky Irving got going. I can't blame. Here's what I was saying about Huff and these guys. I was mad. If you saw my YouTube, not to plug my show, but if you saw my YouTube after, look at me.
Let's please plug the show.
I don't even know what the fuck it's called. So
the Greenlight Podcast and his YouTube page is terrific. They do awesome breakdowns.
So sometimes after the game, I get real homery and I get on and I'm all pissed off because like I know these guys. I love these guys. I talked to Dom yesterday. Like this is my family. So this is like a thing where it's like, it's hard for me to be an analyst, but like this week after this game, I just had to be honest about a few things that like, honestly, I gave Jalen a lot of respect the last 11, 12 games because I know what he's had to deal with. And everybody knows what I'm talking about, being a quarterback in the NFL and having people second guess you and question you. And my thing is, I gave him the grace period. This is now 11 games. I'm not overreacting to 4. What I'm saying is this is a pattern for this team now and for the quarterback and for the head man that's kind of persisted. When you look at the defense, though, the other day, they got the ball on the perimeter quick. Go back and watch the game back. They were just going to get the ball out quick, find the matchups, and you talk about adjustments.
Right.
Like, everybody watched the game is like, the D-line's not getting it done. They could be better. But my point to you is like, they're not going to wake up that way. You have to scheme some things up. They're getting the ball out on the perimeter. They're finding their matchups. When they're down on the goal line, they get in that little bunch, and they got CJ on Mike Evans. Y'all remember this? Not the matchup you want. And I like CJ. I don't believe what Micah Parsons said. I think CJ adds an element to this defense. I would have liked to have played with CJ and Jalen Carter. But the point I'm making is, this guy Liam Cohen down there, he watches film. And he puts him in that little bunch, and he bumps one of the receivers, and he knows the matchup he's going to get. And so it was like pitch and catch for Baker. And another thing is, do you think our quarterback's better than Baker, who I think is a very good quarterback? We got to be realistic. My point is like, you can win with Jalen, you can win with Baker. We got to stop acting like we have to have an MVP or a top 5 quarterback to win.
But that's the tough one. Like, to hear you say that and hesitate.
Baker's a good quarterback, bro.
Right. But like, we went into last year.
Who's we?
A lot of us.
No,
How about that? A lot of us. Here was the question. Here was the accepted statement.
I've never called him a top 5 guy, but that's not slander.
But
that's not slander, bro.
No, it isn't.
No.
But after the Super Bowl season, it was generally accepted going into the year, and you may have pushed back, but I'm just talking about the majority opinion, was he was the best quarterback in the NFC. And I think that was a very widely held.
He was playing the best quarterback in the NFC. Darnold's not the best quarterback in the NFC, I don't think.
No, but I get your point. Right.
That's my point about how we evaluate quarterbacks is like, we get so caught up in the shit that's easy to break down. How are we coaching him? He looked different with Shane. He looked very different with Shane than he did last year. And I think this is the right scheme. I like Kellen Moore, but then I see something where the use of motion down is way down, and because AJ's out. And so, like, I think they're going to have to figure some things out. I think Jalen, you just have to settle into the fact that he can be a winner, but we can't have these conversations where it's either he's top 5 or he's a bum. That to me is like, who cares? You got this guy. You got to win with him. You know what I mean? We made the decision. You can win with him. You have to run the damn ball. You have to, when you go RPO, you can't be penalties and all this shit. And he's got to be decisive because all his turnovers come late in the down. When the ball goes 3 seconds, I'm sitting in my studio, my producers are here. They'll tell you, I'd never hear me yell louder than like, fucking tuck it, dude, or throw it.
Right.
But like when it goes over 3 seconds, he just doesn't see the field as well as some guys late in the down. There are guys that see it really well early, and then late they don't see it well, or vice versa. And I think he's just on that end of the spectrum where he's got to be decisive.
So I want to stay in the division because, Dallas is this constant enigma where, I know everybody likes dumping on him. I don't blame you. I'm sick of watching him too. But clearly they're good enough to be taken seriously, right? The Giants are in this like study abroad year with Daniel Jones.
Can we get Will Levis on the Giants? If I got to watch him in primetime, can I watch some interesting turnovers?
Will Levis makes it fun. He does make it fun. I mean, I've never seen a coach yell at a guy like that. When Callahan screamed, "What the fuck are you doing?" to his coach,
can I tell you?
It was so aggressive that people were like, should you really talk to him that way? And then he explained it by going, he's a grown-up. And I'm like, this is like my dad yelling at me.
No, it was childlike. It was childlike.
Yeah, right. It was like, well, he's old enough to be we're like, I don't think this is an age dispute.
He's also the easiest guy to lip read if you watched the game the other night.
Oh, my God.
It was hilarious to me. He was like, after he threw the pick, I've gotten really good at studying lip reading. Probably you too, because you're always trying to figure out like what's going on the sideline. He threw that pick. He came to the sideline, and they were like, let's look at Will Levis. And he goes, I didn't even see him. And then they go back, And they're like, something's wrong with Will Levis. Let's try to go to, whoever's on the fucking sideline. And Will Levis goes, I feel it in my shoulder. Yo, whoever's doing the game was like, well, there you have it. He's thrown 5 different picks that are just cinema this year. He threw one last night. Nobody was watching that game. He threw one. A guy caught it with his inner thigh.
Like I have to live through Chris and other guys that I'm friends with that played because there's nothing I regret more in my life, and not the accolades. I just thought I would have been the best pro athlete hang, and to still have friends in your late 30s would have been incredible. Like, hey, do you want to do something this weekend? And be like, yeah, because we're all pro athletes.
We're all pro athletes.
And the fact that I missed out, I just wish I had trained harder when I was younger. But
it's not true though. You actually don't hang out in your 30s. Like your wife's like,
I don't know. Some of my hockey
dude.
guys, I'm not even friends with some of the hockey guys that'll text me being like, you picked the right path. I'm like, whose number is this? This isn't even, it's too many numbers. When I see when Will Levis in the Chicago game, because I'll ask you this stuff, right? Like Stanford Steve's a perfect example. I go, when you were on Stanford and the guy that was the 5th or 6th string tight end that never played was the loudest in the tunnel coming out, how much did you hate those guys? And he's like, loud tunnel guy that doesn't have a stat is really annoying.
Loud tunnel guy doesn't have a stat. Yeah, for sure.
Never plays, most hyped up, tons of accessories on his arms. And so when Levis had the first bad play against Chicago, but then came back after the second one and was still going all right, we just stay in it. I cannot imagine being a 30-year-old D tackle being like, you can just fucking keep walking, man.
Dude,
I don't want to hear your pep talk.
I've been a high pick back in the day when it was all 30-year-olds in your room. And that is a different world. You walk into a locker room now, dudes are like, yeah, I got that NHL money too, bro. I'm 25. What's on your TikTok? I was walking in and Leroy Glover had a dip in during individual. He's spitting.
Wait, during the workout he had a dip in?
Oh yeah, on the field. And he wore a Louis belt.
That can't be a
He wore a Louis belt in his pads. I was in a locker room with James Hall, Fred Robbins,
Would he get
Leonard
mad
Little.
if he scratched it?
Dude, I would ask for the call. Yeah. I would ask for the call and it's not happening. They're just the fuck you, rookie. It's just the old NFL is so different than the new NFL. I'm just telling you, bro.
I can't imagine.
It was super intimidating.
Yeah.
I got drafted and I was I kind of knew. I was like, oh, you got picked second. It's going to be a motherfucker here.
Was it worse for you because of the lineage in number 2?
Oh, absolutely.
It would have been way easier if you were just 5th round, Chris, not long.
I feel like most people in this room know me because I played here for 2 years and you know what I'm about. But when your dad played, there's a lot of people that are like, you didn't earn it.
Number
you don't
2
work
pick,
hard.
You know what I mean?
You
a little.
Here's the thing. I wasn't that good to get drafted number 2, but I earned it because I worked my ass off to fool people into thinking I was that good. You know what I mean? And when you reframe it that way, and I was like, hey, I was a middle of the first round guy that got picked second. How did I get to where I got? I really am a worker. I'm not that talented, but there are a lot of guys that just when you walk in the room, they're like, this guy's always had it easy. And it's just going to be easy for him going forward. And so that was hard as a young player because guys would be like, and my quip to them was always, because I'll always give it back. I'll be like, you're talking about your son. If your son, you know what I mean?
Did everybody understand what that meant? Because the first time I heard it, I was like, wait, that's a real mind pretzel.
I'm like, so wait, you're telling me that anything your son does, he didn't earn it.
Yeah.
And guys get a little weird about that. But that was kind of my experience kind of coming up.
Because it could be a kid that doesn't even exist yet, and you're planting that seed.
You're exactly right. Fucking come home, tell your pregnant wife, fucking trust fund baby in here.
He's going to have to earn it. All right, I want to
cancel the fucking life insurance policy, all of that. I want him working in a ditch with an orange vest on if I pass away.
Like, man, it must be awesome.
That's the plan I have set up for my kids.
I want to talk about the division because something's happening that I wouldn't expect in this year of the quarterback, which is maybe the least impressive year. It's a month in, so we've got some time. It's the least amount of yardage thrown. It's the least amount of throws, air yards. It's also the least amount of receptions because it's the highest level of completions because there are so many games where guys are determined to throw it to the side all game long. And it's why Rodgers, 2 weeks ago in that Pats game, there was a I think it was 2nd and 17, and he threw it to the sticks. Yeah. And it shocked me because I hadn't seen it for 3 weeks. And I went, this guy, oh, that's right. Some guys will throw to the marker. Now, granted, he's got to see the read and like it and not feel like it's defended perfectly. But it's a really, I don't know, is it alarming? But it's a weird first month of the season to see some of these trends statistically be things we were seeing all at the same time, like 4 or 5 things we haven't seen in 20 years.
No, I would implore people to actually look at the data. I would implore them to like.
Sounds like
no,
a pushback.
I'm just telling you. I just got this shit here. I was like texting my stat guy, and I was like, bro.
I was the one that had notes. I didn't know you were doing it.
Well, here's the difference between you and me. Your notes are really well written out. Mine are actually the right notes, but they're just all over the place. So you've got this thing like everybody else, and there is something to like, hey, they're playing more too high, for sure.
Well, Darnold, when I looked at the stat, Darnold was at 78% completion, and he was 14th in the NFL. Think about that.
No, because part of it is, I'll just say this. Hand up, I haven't done a research project on this. Like, I'm going to get back to the hotel tonight, and I'm going to be on a gummy like, oh, my God. What's going on with the passing? Oh, my God.
Let's FaceTime during it.
Nope, I will. You know how those go. He doesn't say shit. He won't say shit. I'll tell him something super interesting, and he just looks at me, and then he tells a 14-minute story about, like, minor league baseball and Quahog. And I'm like, I actually had to have a talk with him. I'm like, bro, if we're going to talk at 11 o'clock at night, like, if I'm going to call you, you got to play back a little bit.
Here's the problem. I'm alone a lot.
He's alone a lot.
So I've noticed this. We all got to self-scout. You got to be honest with yourself. So I'm aware of what's going on is that, I'm interacting with somebody that you're supposed to talk. And then I'll realize I just talked for 5 minutes.
No, but I do it to you when you have me on the podcast. So like the whole thing is.
I'm working on it.
No, but the whole thing is, you go passing yards a game or ADOT, like average depth of target. I also think there's something to teams being like, hey, part of our run game is now the quick game.
Yeah, I like this. This is good because you set me straight on this a little bit.
I haven't run the numbers, but for me, I'm riding in the car reading this tweet, and I'm like, number one, let's make sure they aren't cherry-picked numbers. And some of them are because, like, you'll look at one of these metrics that they're like, hey, the sky is falling, and then they're going back 20 years to see the second worst. So, like, something happened in 2002. What was it? Like,
right.
I think we're making a little too much of a single event. Like, I also think it's like the culmination of we have more voices, more demand for give and a take. Like, what are we going to do for the first month of the season? We just like aren't. So I think a certain amount of, hey, San Francisco, Miami, their run game can be the pass game. When you run a jet sweep and you're in shotgun and you flip the ball forward to a damn receiver, that's a pass statistically. Right. So the way I look at it is like, hey, these quick little perimeter plays. I mean, Tampa got into some of those plays. Screens, stuff that teams are like, hey, we don't have to, just because Bijan got drafted in the top 10 doesn't mean that's in vogue. It's one of the things that really hurts me as a football player is like, I don't know what to say to running backs. Because like, yeah, you got a point, but at the same time, so do the people cutting the checks. Because it's like we're putting you in car accidents every Sunday. It's 100% injury guarantee. It's like most people are not like Derrick Henry looking like that last night, that deep into your career. So I think a lot of it is like, hey, we're going to get the ball out quick instead of running the football. The offensive lines now are less practiced, prepared, developed than ever. New CBA on top of new CBA, less camp time, less padded practice time. On top of that, and I explained this to the guys inside the NFL, they're like, what do you think it is? I'm going, how long did it take me in training camp to figure out how to put my hand in the ground and run through somebody or around somebody in Jim Schwartz's defense? It's very simple.
Right.
How long does it take for Jeff Stoutland to teach that offense? And he does an amazing job. How long does it take them to school those guys? And the depth is getting worse. And the concepts in college are getting more simple and things are spread out. So you're getting a lot of quick game. And I think it's a culmination of everything, including the too high and young quarterbacks. There's a ton of young quarterbacks. I guarantee if you look back when all the guys from the 90s retired, there was a little regression. And now we're going to figure, you know why? Jaden Daniels popped up. C.J. Stroud popped up.
Should Eagles fans be really worried about this Jaden Daniels situation?
I love y'all, okay? I absolutely love y'all. And I hate to see you not smile. And I hate to tell you something and not sound like a homer because I am. I'm a damn homer. But this kid scares the shit out of me. He really does. I feel like I'm trying to rally a group of people behind like a fear. You should be afraid of this guy, right, dude.
Because you didn't think they were scared enough in that reaction, and you're.
Oh my God, dude. I just tell you, I'll put it this way, because I know we can jump out of the gym on some shit, but if he regresses and he's not a damn good quarterback in this league, then they need to study what happened this month and what followed it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't like putting the cart before the horse, but if he turns out to not be a guy, then we need to figure out what happened, because he looks like a guy, capital G.
Well, the crazy thing is week one, he looked like a guy that was a college quarterback.
So did CJ last year, week one.
Yeah, I know. And the CJ story, like, is even a bigger outlier as you see this next group. And, you know, if you listen to me, I'm so defeated about the topic because I watch all these guys on Saturday, and I've never been there's never been like less conviction in my voice about even the top picks. Every now and then there'll be somebody be like, no way, absolutely not, no way. I watched a ton of him on Saturday. It's not going to happen. And sometimes I can be wrong that way. But even with Jaden, that first game, like one read and he's done, one read and he's done. From that game into week 3 in Cincinnati, where he's got a lead and he makes that throw on a cover receiver, granted it's a one-on-one, takes the hit on the throw. And the fact, again, that he had the lead and was like, you know what, let me try to put this game away, that in 14 days, that's what we saw from him. And I know you guys always give me shit for liking Cliff Kingsbury, but Arizona stunk forever.
You're right.
Arizona stunk forever. They drafted a quarterback number 1. Kyler was actually really good before he started getting hurt when he would get breathed on too hard. And so I look at this and go, you know, there's a reason why everybody wanted the McVay tree or the Shanahan tree, because it's happening.
It's so funny because if you watch Dan Quinn after that game, it's like Cliff got his "you're good enough for Detroit" moment that Jared got like week 4. You don't do that. You don't make a big scene about the guy if you don't think this is sustainable. And when I talked to Ertz, our boy, give it up for Zach Ertz, my dog. When I talked to Ertz before the season, he told me that this guy's going to be, quote, like, I think very good and very quickly very good. And, like, when you have a guy that's been around a lot of damn quarterbacks and you hear that, that's why I'm comfortable jumping out of the gym week 3 and 4. My jaw was on the floor in that Cincinnati game. And Cincinnati defensively sucks right now. But it's not just about
who you're... Trey.
It's not just about who... Yeah, he's great.
Hubbard.
It's not just about who you're... Don't do this. It's not just about
just sticking up for the white edge guys. It's a fraternity, you know. Like,
I would say it's a dying art form, but what is Aiden Hutchinson doing, bro? What's he doing?
Do you guys have meetings?
Nobody told him?
There has to be a thread where you guys are on it and be like, Hutchinson can keep our lineage pure.
It's so funny because I'll meet these guys and they'll be better than me, and I'll be like, nice to meet you, sir. And they're like, I was compared to you. And I'm like, sorry about that. You know, like it's like they ran it, like Aaron Campman and all these guys. Anyways, but the whole point is, this guy, Jaden Daniels, he's so good at making decisions. They're so good on second down. They got second EPA on second down. They got the best EPA on third down in the league. The delta between them and the next team is like massive. Okay, it's one of those things where it's like the difference between the best offense and the middle of the pack offense. And that's them on third down with a rookie quarterback, who, by the way, they protected with a really nice tackle from TCU in the 3rd round. Eckler looks young. McCaffrey. I'll just say this. When you go on the road and Cincy is 0-2 and they come off that game against Kansas City, because I'm a bettor, okay? I gamble a lot. And this is classic bet the Bengals, man. Like, they almost beat the Chiefs, right? They're pissed off. It's the Commanders. Yeah, they're trying to scare you. It's 7.5 points. Bengals go down and score right away. I'm looking at the score app like I'm good. Guess what happened? I turned on the TV and the whole stadium's ready to blow their top because, you know, like if you go 3 and out or you throw a pick, like you're going to lose that game by 40. He comes out there on 4th and 2, and he's just doing this. Fucking 4th and 2. I'm in.
Do you want me to line up anywhere and do like the?
He's just doing this.
Jay Glazer in the pregame show. Like
Luke McCaffrey's playing games behind Jermaine Pratt. And I'm like watching this dude and I'm like, bro, he's a guy. It's 4th and 2. 3rd and 7 with the game on the line. He gets a face full of a free runner.
that throw,
How did
man.
how did McLaurin have time to do a double move, bro? Like, how did he? It's your guy. You're an LSU super
You're
fan.
more excited about him than I even thought was possible.
I love the guy. I won't apologize for it. I'm not gonna root for him when we play. Obviously, when they play, and I'll root against them because I got a giant Eagles win the East bet. But all I wish for that kid is prosperity, dude. So here's the deal. Like, I've been on bad teams. I spent most of my career on teams that y'all never saw play. Raise your hand if you ever watched a St. Louis Rams game in 2009. This is like one dude that seems to. Okay, well, y'all had red zone. Your parents
I
were
don't think
doing
they
good.
had red zone then.
Whatever it was, like, I don't know if it was public access, but I don't know how the fuck you saw me.
You would have been on
You were
Thursday
on
Night Football
Stream
a lot.
East?
You would have been on the Amazon game a lot in the first year.
No chance. We didn't play at night, bro.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like the first batch.
It was bad, bro.
We're in St.
Anyways,
Louis
most
again.
of my career was, you know, like on teams like that, 1-15, 2-14. Like, I can't describe to you with everything we put into it. I'm not saying we're firefighters or police officers or damn people who work at a hospital. We're well-paid athletes, but it's a fucking hard life.
The troops are the real heroes.
I'm the. Yes, they are. Any veterans in the house tonight?
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all. He's giving me the like maybe a little bit. Like what?
Hug a cop. I
Coast
said
Guard
it.
or something. So
That's from Fletch.
anyways, the whole thing is like it's a fucking hard life, and like when you get in that roller coaster in August, there's nothing worse than knowing that like, all right, seatbelt's on. Like
I
this
can't
thing's just
even-
gonna
yeah.
crash.
Jakob Pertl the other day. He's like, yeah, this is gonna suck.
No, it's just I don't even know what you're saying. What'd you say?
I'll send you the link.
Anyways, did you see Jimmy Carter today?
I saw a lot of birthday
You
wishes.
think he called it an early night?
No, I'm still in this Frankie Valley thing.
Since
He's
you're in
coming up
viral
after
moments?
us.
Okay,
He wanted. That's the secret. He's gonna.
but
be
happy
doing
birthday to Jimmy Carter. Holy shit.
100, right?
But the point is, Davante Adams feels like Jimmy Carter. He's been in the league a long time, and he doesn't want to put up with this shit. I understand. Like, I've been on losing teams. Now, he might not, I don't know how he's going about it, but you have a former player coach that is like calling guys out for making business decisions. And if you want to be gone, like I had a lot of coaches that were like, if you don't want to be here, leave. And like, you'd be like, all right, I don't want to be here. And they'd be like, no, motherfucker, you got to stay. Antonio Pierce is like the guy that's like, yeah, I'll send you out here on Southwest. And I'm not saying their relationship is contentious, but when I looked at the options for him today, the first thing I looked at was what made the most sense if I was Davante? Like, what would I want to do? Which is an interesting conversation.
Sure.
Okay? Yeah, but Chiefs can't afford him right now, I don't think. I'm not being like snippy, but I'm saying like the cap's
I always feel like the NFL cap.
Cap's not
it's like
real.
You can always make it work.
Here are the players that have the most capital that I think could fit. Obviously, the Jets can afford him. But if I were Davante Adams, I'm not saying this is a slight to Aaron. You're going to go play with your best friend. For how long? You know what I mean? Like to me, there is something to that. And there's also like, I don't think he's won a ring, right?
No.
So if you're Davante Adams, I imagine I'm putting myself in 31-year-old Davante Adams' brain. I was never Davante Adams, but when I got cut by the Rams after like 2 years of injuries, I was like, well, it's done here. What's my best chance to win a championship? And that's why I went to New England, all right? That was a total like, hey, and I had a great year there and everything, but I was just playing the odds. Where can I win a championship? And I look at this guy and I'm like, does he make the Jets better to the point that they can win a championship? And does he feel like it's worth taking a gamble where in 2 years I might be catching the football from whoever else?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not a slight on Aaron. He looks great throwing the football, but he's 40, dude. And so a team like Washington, I'm not trying to plant a seed, but I am telling you, well, I mean, I can tell by the reaction it's the right move. Because like a team like Washington is looking at him and saying, and if I'm Davante, I might say, oh, I can go catch balls till I'm 40 years old from this kid. New York would be the short play, right? Because you know this guy's 40.
Right.
You know, like, and you still are under contract for a couple of years, as I understand it. Okay, so I look at like Detroit as a dark horse. I know a lot of people are like, what does Detroit need? Detroit needs a big possession receiver. Okay, like Amon-Ra takes a beating in the slot. Jamison Williams is, I don't want to.
He's a go.
I don't mean
I
this
love
as
him,
like
but
pejoratively. He's a gadget guy right now, okay? But he's learning to be a receiver, right? Like, I don't mean like he can't play receiver. But
yeah, we got it.
Davante Adams, he's a guy. Yeah, well, we live in the clickbait era, Ryan.
Cut up that part where he questions Jamison Williams' future.
He's done this shit to me before.
I did it to myself. I've seen breakouts of me going,
you know, Washington, I think,
really
like, if you're doing Kansas City, you should do L.A. too, the Chargers. I don't think Green Bay needs them.
I don't think Green Bay
Steelers,
needs
I don't
them.
know how they make it work. We kind of looked at that.
Steelers need him.
They need him, but like,
Steelers desperately
if
need
you,
him.
but he has no trade clause. He doesn't have a no trade.
Yeah, but when I saw Schefter have the piece today saying they're looking for a second rounder, that's Schefter, like, and this is part of the insider at that level. That means that Schefter is now being told, like, throw this out to the market.
Well, yeah.
So that to me is a huge positive if you're Adams going, okay, so they gave this information to him.
Well, the positive is it doesn't look like much on paper. I was like, oh, damn, that's it. And what you're going to do is accrue a bunch of offers for a guy, and then you can play. They probably know one team that would overpay. And so, like, if you say, hey, he's worth a second and some additional compensation to us, then all of a sudden you're like, hey, team that would give me two whatevers. Mm-hmm. Like, look at all the calls we've gotten. And I just want to say this. He has a no trade. He does not have a no trade clause. So what does that mean? That means he doesn't get to pick his destination. So put yourself in Antonio Pierce's head. I don't mean to make something out of nothing, but my man is liking pictures that are like Davante wants out on Instagram.
That's always
did I get fooled on that thing? Is that real? Did anybody else see that? That's real. You're like a producer, bro. I'm just going to look at you. But are you really? I know one when I see one, bro. Give me your card. So the whole thing is, like, if Antonio Pierce is like, hey, fuck you. Like, fuck me, fuck you. Does he send him to New England?
Well, Drake May's about to light the world on fire in 25, so that...
No, but that's the thing. It's like there's a
yeah.
lot of layers to this thing, and I don't know how it's going behind closed doors, but I do think a team like Washington, I'm not trying to be funny or, like, bring up a bad thing, but, like, this team right now, teams are having a hard time keeping up with them. We'll see if that's real. But if it's real, this is the year to say, I don't care about my defense. Let's outscore people, because look around the league.
More of that on the Greenlight podcast from Chris Long. And the YouTube page, same thing?
I think it's like green light. Yeah, green light.
Greenlight. Okay. It's all been building until this moment.
Do I have to leave?
No, you're staying.
Good.
I want you to have a front row seat.
I love these people. I love you.
Ceruti is taking a lot of shit lately, so we're going to work on that later. But we all know the real main attraction is our guy, Kyle. Bad dismount. All right, we'll get that later, Kyle. How's it backstage? A lot of groupies?
Sick to my stomach, man. So nervous.
You're nervous?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Well, I'm up here with one of my heroes, then left.
Thanks.
Beat us with the Eagles. Turns out he's good at podcasting. I like him again, so I'm nervous for that. I should have peed before I came up here.
I got to pee right now. It's so bad, dude.
My
You're
wife
fine.
is here with her There you go. With the Philly in-laws. I got 2 Poughkeepsie wild cards here. I'm so nervous I bought Ceruti a beer.
Yeah, he did. True story.
I got some. Thank you very much.
All right,
Cheers.
cheers, bro.
Kyle didn't love you saying how much you love Philly more than New England.
Well, no, I mean,
I didn't
like,
say anything. I just made a face.
you know, like the sun goes down pretty early up there, and
You didn't live in Boston.
I
Honestly,
promise you, I
yeah.
wouldn't have liked it better. I can promise you.
No, you were not. This isn't a debate,
Did they just turn the lights green when you said that?
but
Culture is an interesting thing, dude. Like, you know, it's palpable. It's a different city. It's like, you know, it's just a totally different city. Same region, different city. Totally different city. People are warm here. They're very warm.
not when your car battery's dead.
You guys are cold.
So you think Philly's nicer than Boston? Yeah,
dude.
that's not very passionate, by the way.
No, but it's kind of a trick question because, yeah, it's like the fucking Eastern Seaboard, man. I'm from a small town. People are kind of like getting moving up here.
No, we're
in
not the
general.
nicest. You could draw a large circle around that.
Anyways. Shit
But
on
let's
Boston.
try to help the community out here a little bit. All right, so we've got a few of these. We'll start with an easy one. Handyman dilemma. 6'4", 270. Thick. Pickup hoops comp is 2024 Kevin Love and UCLA Kevin Love's body. In my mid-30s, moved back to my hometown in the suburbs outside of an East Coast city about 5 years ago. After getting married, my wife and I now have 2 kids under 4. Having bought an older house, there was plenty of work to be done. Luckily, my parents have used a handyman for years that we will call Bill. Probably not the same
not
guy. And he's done work at our house at least once a year since we moved in. The good news is Bill does great work at an affordable price point. I've gotten other estimates for larger jobs, such as a kitchen remodeling and a new deck, and Bill has always given a significantly better price. The bad news is Bill's an older guy with the most audible respiratory issues of any human I've ever met, compounded in that he rips cigs all day long. While he's working, he is coughing, wheezing, and muttering curses to himself the entire time. He also brings his cousin Don around to help him out, and they argue with each other the entire time. Bill is always working multiple jobs and therefore usually arrives at 3 or 4 in the afternoon when my wife and kids get home while I get home around 7. My wife complains it's impossible to get anything done at home, especially with our young kids. Remember, under 4, both of them, and is not a fan of the aesthetics. Things came to a head a couple weeks ago. They were finishing up for the day, and I had just gotten home when Bill's cousin Don asked to use my bathroom. I said, sure thing, only to discover my wife had drawn a bath for the kids and they were about to go in. I told him he could use the bathroom in the basement. He said, I'll be quick. So I said, okay, go for it. After 2 minutes, it was clear he was not going to be quick and was dropping heat. 10 minutes later, he walked out and we started wafting in the aftermath of a completely blown out bathroom, all while the bathtub was filled for the kids. My wife is not pleased and has asked me to find someone else moving forward, as well as saying she won't be home anymore if Bill and the cousin Don are there. That's tough because they're there till 7. Well, I do think the bathroom situation is weird and the overall vibes in general, while they are here, could be much better. I simply can't get over the fact the guy does solid work at a consistently fair price and is only here once or twice a year. What's the move? Do I deal with the future ramifications and adjust my schedule to make sure I'm home the next time we need him, or do we say they can only use the downstairs bathroom? Do I find a new handyman? A lot going on in that.
Whose opinion do you want first?
Kyle's.
Go ahead.
Can I get a hands up if this seems like a judging the book by its cover situation? I don't see there's anything wrong. No hands. All right, 1 hand. I think Bill's a good
Did you
worker.
ask for the hands before the question was over, though? I think that was
They
a
didn't
little
know what they were
quick.
raising their
Yeah.
hands for. Yeah.
Isn't there a saying, good help is hard to come by? You got a guy you trust. He takes big dumps.
No, his friend takes big dumps.
And he brings his family to work with him. I mean, listen, newly married, I'm not, again, tell your wife to relax is definitely not even a break in case of emergency situation, but I think it starts with that conversation. I don't think you're like on, the new Angie's list, which is just Angie now, by the way, if anyone was wondering. But I think you got a good thing going on.
Are we doing promos right in the middle?
I don't know. I told
Kyle's
you I'm
taking
nervous
money
up
on the side here. What's
But
going on?
I think you stick with Bill if you can help it, and just do what you can to have the best situation for Bill. I don't know.
Fucking trying to turn the fan on for Bill's cousin.
Yeah.
So you're on the
Like
lookout
it's
for
rigged.
Bill and Don. You're running interference.
You're victim blaming, dude.
Yes.
It's their fault. There's a fucking huge.
It's not like he didn't flush it, though. You know what I mean?
There's a
Like,
moodang in the
Don
toilet.
knew what he was doing. Don knew what
wait,
he
is
was
this
doing.
a one-bathroom house?
No, he said
No,
use
it's
the
a
one
guess that was a
downstairs.
little-
Okay, that's a key.
No. Yeah,
How many
Don,
bathrooms?
Don is showing, he's kind of like trying to show his dominance.
Last job of the day? I mean, I get it.
I mean,
you
was
just
he
wave me off?
trying to show his dominance?
Ceruti's got to tell me what he thinks.
Was he trying to show his dominance? I mean, sometimes like you got to go. Like, what are you gonna do? You
Go
gonna
downstairs.
shit outside? I don't know. Like,
Dude, it's pretty. Go ahead.
I do feel like Kyle
fucking
would
life
he would be
advice.
sympathetic towards anyone who's a cigarette smoker. So like that's kind of the vibe we're going for here. But I will say, as my dad, plumbing, heating, HVAC, all that stuff.
There we go. Blue collar Steve.
Dude, it's hard to find good people that do
Right.
this stuff. So if you found somebody, like, I'm sorry, that's what you got. I'm married. I know the difficult conversation, but you got to tell your wife, like, it's hard to
Okay,
find
but just
somebody
so you
like this.
understand, your 2 under 4-year-old kids are there with Bill and
Why?
Shit and Don.
It's poor
while
planning.
You're not even there, and so that's tough to massage.
It sounds like poor
so
planning.
what you do is you're an adult about it, and you're like, hey, man, your cousin can't take a shit while you're on the job. That's the one deal breaker. I
we
love
have
what
one
we
rule.
got going on, bro. Go outside and smoke a cigarette with him. By the way,
End of the driveway.
I don't
by
want
the
a
way.
guy working on my house that doesn't rip heaters, okay?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And potentially has emphysema. That's how dedicated he is.
Hey,
Yeah, right.
listen, I smoke a damn joint with somebody working on my house. I offer them all weed. But the whole point is, just have an adult conversation. Listen, we've been having a good thing going on. You bring your family around, which is fine.
Yeah.
But when he bombs the
No,
bathroom,
that's simple. Like
it's
I
just
remember,
that simple.
I remember being on jobs with my dad, a humble bricklayer, and it was just understood. Like the homeowner, if the house was nice and there was stuff you couldn't do, you just said, hey, guess what? Your kid can't like ransack our garage during his lunch break. And I was like, okay. And then I would get a talking to in the truck. I got
What
a
were
lot
you
of
doing in the
talking to.
garage, buddy?
No, I would just see like,
I mean,
Some copper scraps running
yeah,
around.
just stuff to play with. I mean, when I was really young on the brick job, I wasn't super helpful. One brick at a time.
Shout out to Mike Harper. He works on my house. He smokes heaters, and he's like the best in the business. And he would never do that in my house.
He would know. All right. Advice on grooming. Leave this one for
this
Ceruti
one-
and
has this
Chris.
one-
That's probably not my thing, bro.
Very pointed questions.
Neither is it yours.
All right. We'll start with Ceruti then. All right. 31-year-old woman, female woman emailing the show. It's always celebrated. What's the lineup we got in here?
can we get a quick hands up if you're a woman in here?
Kyle's
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
saucy.
The,
31-year-old woman. I've been married
Might as well bring him to
to
wrestling.
my husband for almost 7 months. 7 months. Newlyweds. Though we've been together for a total of 7 years. All right. Got a lot of data points. I love him deeply. He's an amazing husband. He plans all of our trips, loves spending money on us, spoils me on my birthday, and is truly a great guy. However, there are a few habits he has that I find concerning. He's 32 and works as an engineer. And while he's a laid-back person, he tends to neglect himself when it comes to personal grooming and appearance. For instance, he doesn't buy new clothes unless I ask him to. He'll wear underwear and socks with holes in them, which I find odd. I also have to remind him to cut his fingernails, toenails, and hair, which feels like something I shouldn't have to do. He's an adult after all. After we discussed it, he did set up a whiteboard in his office with reminders for personal grooming.
He cares. That guy cares.
Is this the part where I repeat that he's an engineer? I still have to nudge him, though, to take care of these things. Is this typical behavior for men? I've never need reminders to take care of myself. I do it because I care about how I look and want to look good for him. He knows I'm sending this message, and honestly, I'm hoping other guys can chime in and maybe convince him to prioritize his grooming a bit more. Thanks.
You gotta love me for me. I'm just joking. I cut my
Long nails.
fingernails and toenails.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
out of control.
There's never been a girl that's like, you know, he grows his nails out sometime, and it's just so hot.
That's bad.
but he's
Yeah.
got a whiteboard and he's taking it seriously. So like there's a check in the right direction. He's doing something
How
right.
old is he again?
32. He's an engineer. You've known him for
He's
7
still young.
years. I don't know. It sounds like the rest of it's pretty good.
Still
Just-
young.
Does this guy make a lot of money, I'd imagine?
She says she spoils her on her birthday. Like, I get it. You know, especially the long toenails, cuddling. Like, oh, can you call 911? Do you know how to make a tourniquet? The nail stuff is really tough. The underwear thing, like, some dudes just
What's with the underwear?
holes.
Okay.
That's tough.
There's
Who
a
doesn't
hole in
have
every
holes in their
guy's
underwear
underwear.
at home? Come on.
To be fair, there's a hole in my underwear.
I'm pretty up on it. I try not to let it get to that point.
No, I mean, like, they put a hole in your underwear. So what's another hole?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Engineering again. Now I get it.
If the shirt is clean, if there's a hole in it, no problem. In my opinion, I dress like shit. The fingernails, though, that's out of control.
All right, so this is from somebody that's here. We have a couple of these. Dangerous. Let's try it. 5'11", 245.
Ryan?
Chris is looking for him. I see him scanning.
All right, where?
Everybody stand up.
Got a Mike
I don't know, because
linebacker in here?
there's another one from somebody here that's like really
London
dangerous.
Fletcher in the building?
Yeah, I know, right? Is Lane Johnson here? Did he make it? Can he stand up front? All right, player comp is NBA Ben Simmons. I'm currently hurt. Ruptured patella, not to brag, but my jumper is money with no defenders. That would be an improvement.
In the lab.
One of my best friends told me he hates my guts on the group chat, and everyone in the group thinks he's out of his mind. He was a high school football legend, shredded and hooked up with a ton of chicks all throughout his 20s and 30s. Is that guy here?
Does that buy you like 20 years of like...
Guy had a sick run, man.
High school
Back-to-back
football legend.
decades.
You're living off that?
It would be weird if you were like introduced your 40-something friend and be like, this guy just destroyed
You
it.
would not believe.
Hey, you should have seen the way he ran the wing T in 04.
From 99 to 19.
Check tape. Check tape.
Hide your ladies. All right, so today's 45, carpenter. Jesus was a carpenter. Twin babies, apparently not happy. The rest of the crew's early 40s and are all happy. All married with kids. I read the wrong sentence. I was like, everybody's happy? I'm 43 and the only single one. Well, I know your game. So I text the group story my antics living in New York City. They all love it. Why wouldn't they? But this has been pissing off our little Al Bundy. The group chat is of all sports, small amount of politics. We have zero political knowledge and mostly ball busting. It's common for Uncle Rico to be the only one in the chat to be annoyed about the ball busting. But a few weeks ago, he recently went for it, told me he hates me, regrets making me the godfather to one of his kids.
Whoa.
And multiple times remarked that he hoped my leg rots off patella surgery. That's just
Where you get the surgery?
extra mean.
What's that?
I, on the other hand, have held back saying anything I'd regret. Everyone in the crew has spoken to him about it and told him he's crazy and misguided. A few times he's admitted it went too far, but a day or two later, he's saying wild shit to me in the chat again. The consensus is that he's not happy with his life and needs a target to fire his anger at. Everyone is telling me I am the smarter, more rational one, so I should try to fix it. My feelings are fuck that and fuck him. Thoughts, shout out Kyle.
I think you shouldn't have backed off and you should have went harder. I'm not in a lot of group chats. Sometimes I fantasize about getting an Android, so I'll be kicked out of group chats. But
Has anyone ever said, I don't like anything about you?
Yes. And what I'm going to say is I have not been in a good, worthy group chat that hasn't gotten a little gross. And I think yes, I know shit gets a little bit like misinterpreted over text messages, but I mean, there's been some really disgusting, can't believe you just wrote that down and pushed send. And I do think that's a little bit normal.
We'll suspend guys in this one group chat I have. Like, we'll banish them for like a week.
And then somebody adds them back?
Yeah, usually. It's like not me, but you know.
But it's okay, right? I mean, it's kind of like part of it.
It is okay, but when the guy keeps doing the same shit in the group chat, I'm like, bro, people are online too much. They come in the group chat and they bring it into the group chat. I'm like, bro, like keep me out of whatever you're on today, bro. Like, let's talk about the White Sox suck, huh? Like, that's group chat stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about
wouldn't get
real
you banned?
issues in the group chat. Huh?
White Sox content is good?
Yeah, like send me a link of
In
them.
Chicago, yeah.
I don't know, something. Just I don't want to have a serious. I don't want to have serious conversations.
I like when
in the
people
group
send me
chat.
stuff like from sports, guys from college, and they'll go, "Can you believe this?" I'm like, "Can you believe you sent it to me 48 hours later?" You know, and then we had like a tough deal where like I was arguing with a couple people, and I was like, "This isn't even about what's known; it's what the guy fucking told me, because that's what it's like." And then a couple other friends were like, "You do realize like this isn't just a dude. This guy's been doing it for like 20 years. Like we have a sports like person on our group chat, and he's trying to tell you what's happening. And guess what the guy did?
We do.
It's like he's still wrong." So, you know, there's some
You gotta
diverging
try
paths.
voting somebody out of there.
That's not my role anymore. Things have gone well. I don't care.
I've left. I'll leave a group chat, and then they beg me back in. They beg me back in.
I'll just see it and go whatever. And but I've never.
Yeah.
I want Ceruti to jump in here, but I have a time where a buddy was like, "I'm just done with you and everything about you."
The good news is, I mean, you're everybody's on your side, right? So
Everybody's on his side.
I have a core group of there's 5 of us, high school, whatever, and we all have like little side group chats, and we talk more and on some talk more in other ones. Sounds like you just got to like give this guy, as you said, like a 2-week suspension, get him out. Just
It's
like
a great idea.
He doesn't even know that it happened. You guys are just talking on the
And
side.
then you talk on the side
and then
and
he's
be
like,
like-
"What's going on? You guys have been quiet in here lately."
Side quest chat.
And that's what I would do until he cleans his stuff up.
Because in all honesty, how do people constantly get in disagreements around the world? Text. And you've reduced your friendship to
No
a group
tone.
text.
Yeah.
I don't know
Can't
what the
read it.
tone is, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I like to
you know,
get on
it's
the-
like a
I like to get on
constant
the blower
marital
still.
spat in here. And we're just supposed to be hanging out.
That was some big picture shit right there. That
Yeah.
was some zoomed out shit. That was
You
good.
know what I'm saying?
That's true. Suspend him.
You know, the
like-
internet sucks.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, like the For You tab on Twitter, which is just like bombs. Like it's there to just piss you off and
Bro,
trigger
I don't
you.
even know. I don't even know what the.
I have a buddy
You
who
do.
is basically the real life version of the For You tab. He'll just send our group chat like little bombs of things, and every once in a while we'll have to be like, "Hey man, like
Hey,
we can't bring that kind of energy in here all the time."
Exactly. That's the guy in our group chat
Yep.
who I love. But he's like the For You tab.
You got to check him a little.
Have you
bit.
noticed on X now? You'll be like, you'll watch one fight video, and they're like, "Here, you might like this guy getting decapitated."
dude?
I'm like, bro, not at all.
I get like dash cam
Just
car
like
crashes.
to see a fair one every now and again.
Yeah,
You watch one MILF drive a golf ball, and
You'll watch one.
right, one MILF, and then somebody checks your phone, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?" And you're like, "I don't know."
We
I
hit
just- I
up
started
Brandy
golfing
Love
again, and
Hey, we hit up Brandy Love on our Cameo
did you?
to try to. She picked the order of her fantasy draft. So, just a
See,
little
but that's
fun
good
fact.
use. That's good use of Cameo.
Yeah.
By the way,
And
Chris.
she was great. She went above and beyond.
Well, scattering report would match that. What
My wife knows I asked. My wife knows we got her to pick the fantasy football league.
I love about Chris is he was on the Cameo thing so early that you were the first person that I could even think of that was like, "I'm going to use this for evil in the best way." So what was it, LeGarrette?
Dude, I have LeGarrette Blunt wishing an iguana a happy birthday, who's the oldest living iguana. His name is Pablo. He put on his New England Patriots shirt to do this thing by his pool. And he goes, "I know he's going to be watching those Patriot games."
He sent it to me. It's still one of the funniest things I've ever seen. We got to get that going again because he thinks it's real. He doesn't know that you did it.
I got Dean Blandino, I got Trey Flowers, I got Kurt Benkert, I got a whole.
We got to bring that back.
Yeah.
It's been out of the loop enough to bring it back. All right, couple more here. And then we'll get to the
Trying
Q&A.
to get Kurt Schilling. He wouldn't.
Schilling.
I don't think the sock was real blood. I'm fucking around. Some baseball fans that are like,
All right. We'll do one more. This one's tough. This is, I don't know the guy that we just read about his friend. I'll tell you this though on the friend group thing. Like, I had it happen to me once, and I was reaching out to the other guys, and I was like, "What's going on there?" And they're like, "He just kind of doesn't like you." And I went, "All right, but I never like did anything. There's no like line in the sand. There was never actually any moment that it point to. So like, there's no apology or whatever." He goes, "No, he just doesn't like you." And guess what? My life has literally not changed at all since I don't talk to this person anymore. It doesn't even matter.
It never does.
It just doesn't matter. It's amazing. Just, The ad drop of life. So,
Can I just say one thing real quick?
yes.
I've never heard somebody with more stories of like, yeah, there was one guy that just fucking hated me than you. Several friend groups, it sounds like different eras. There's always one guy that fucking hates your
I've been
guts,
around
man.
a long time. I don't know.
It doesn't
I'm
make
a
sense
resource.
to me. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, there's some work stuff, and then there was a college. Yeah, actually, maybe there is more than one. All right, two more
I've counted
emails,
3.
and then Elizabeth will open up to the Q&A here. Okay, this one's tough because all the guys are here, and they're all huge. All right, height widely disputed, but I go with 6'6",
Good for you.
250. Maybe this one's fake. I don't know.
String bean.
What? 1 pack a day, Vlade Divac. A stubbled 1 pack a day, Vlade. Okay. Me and 2 friends buy tickets to the Philly pod. Oh, this might be bad. Been friend for 20 years. Very excited to attend to see Kyle in person, as everybody is. At work, I bring up at lunch
I like
that
your
I'm...
vibes, man. You got good vibes, bro. We never really
you.
hung out, bro. He's got good
No,
vibes.
I was too nervous.
He got good vibes.
We can farm them out. I bring up at lunch that I'm going to the Philly pod. A good work friend who I eat lunch with, ears perk up. Obviously,
You
he's
just
a
find the guy?
fan.
I found him.
I think you just found the guy.
Is the guy here with you?
The guy's here.
Should I stop reading this?
No, read it. It's just good to
Did
know
I
where
see
he
it
is.
this?
No, it was like this.
No, when he
This.
raised his hand, he's like, hey, man.
He might have raised it to be like, don't read the end. So a good work friend who I eat lunch with, his ears perk up. Obviously, he's a fan. Later that night, he texts me and invites himself to the pod with us. In the text, he even says, I know you don't like it when people invite themselves. I now have to explain to my 20-year-plus friend that a work friend is joining us. Best part is, besides inviting himself, he wants to get wasted and doesn't even offer to drive. Should I have said no? Should I have made him drive? Probably not. We're all going to be in attendance at the Philly pod and really need your help to settle this. Well, it's sort of settled. You're here, right?
Also, like, I know Uber can be kind of fucking expensive, but
I'll tell you what. I'll get your Uber tonight.
Yeah, dude. Both of y'all get drunk. By the way, somebody invited themselves with me to that Bama game. The LSU Bama game I'm coming to you with?
Do I know him?
Dr. Fax.
Dr. Fax is good to go. Because you don't really have to watch Dr. Fax.
He was like, how you getting down there?
Oh, well, we all know. Not the way I'm going down there. All right, last one. This one's good. It hits close to home. Got beaten one-on-one by a 76-year-old man. 5'11", 195, 285 bench. NBA comp Andre Iguodala, who's never dunked. I'm 35 years old, father of 205, but have somehow defied the odds and am in the best shape of my life. I'm in the gym 5 days a week, lifting, run 3 times a week, and dabble in some gravel biking. I just bought a gravel bike. It's been in the box for a month. A very active person and can run a 5K under 28 minutes, which according to Google tells me I'm the top 20% of men my age. To summarize, I'm very active. I got to push back on that. As a former 5K guy before bulking season, is 5K in under 28 minutes worth mentioning in an email? We don't have any 5K people in here?
How long is 5K?
5K is 2.5, right?
Oh, I can do
2.3?
that.
It's closer to 3.
2.3? A 3.1?
3-1.
Oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
I'm not, you don't.
Yeah. Okay, I think we got it. Thanks.
Here's the problem.
The part of that hit with me, what did he say? Did he say he got beat in one-on-one by a 76-year-old?
Yeah, we're getting there. All right,
I
to add
got
some addition.
crossed
Right
up.
now, he's
You
when
go
he
ahead
hears
then.
this, he's going to be so
Your show.
pissed off.
No, it's your show. Go ahead.
Whoa!
I'll just add some context, Kyle. We'll get right to you immediately,
That's
I
all
promise.
right. I don't want to do it anymore.
I generally wrap my workouts up with shooting hoops for 15 minutes listening to the Ryen Russillo podcast. We're going to be super motivated next time you listen to this part. I played City League ball growing up, multiple City League titles, but I went to an inner city high school that was in the mix for states every year. And as a stocky white guy known for more for hustle than a jumper, rec league was my ceiling. I prefer to hoop alone, but every once in a while.
Oh, is that like endearing to you?
San Sebastian. This is getting shots up constantly. So anyway, some random comes up to him and says, asks if you want to play one-on-one. This is all important context for what I come to ask you guys with help with. Yesterday, a senior man asked me to play one-on-one. Immediately, I felt conflicted because he was clearly in his 70s and I didn't want to break the man's hip. I'm a physical player with a primary skill set. Wait, so this guy's how big again?
He's 5'9", and he benches
195?
195.
285.
And he benches 285.
He's just a, Matty Bruss type. All right, so
There's a problem.
no one got that reference.
What?
I was just trying to power through the email. I'm sorry.
Dude, you're smart. Nobody got it. It's okay. Move
No,
on.
no. That
You know a thing. Nobody knows it.
We got it. We
That's
get
a
it.
cool thing.
that reference doesn't travel. All right. Anyway, let's get to the point of this. When I'm on offense, it's clear I can get by him whenever I want, but I feel weird crossing up an old man and taking him to the rack, so I find myself just shooting jumpers as well, which go in less than his. Despite this, I take an early lead. I'm up 8-7 when he proceeds to drain 4 wide-open jumpers in a row and win 11-8. Afterwards, he's all smiles, but I can't get myself to look him in the eye out of shame. He proceeds to tell me he's 76 years old, which he wanted to do, by the way.
Yeah.
He couldn't wait to tell this guy.
No shit.
Like, I'm 76, by the way. Depressed yet? After which I shamefully admit I'm 35. He says, quote, we'll definitely play again. To which I give a, yeah, definitely, and walk away in shame. Now I feel for our guy.
There was a layup there.
I'm sorry about the
There was a
3.1 5K deal.
Play again. You're 76. We got to hurry up.
You sure?
I'm looking for advice on how I should have proceeded in the first place. Should I have taken this man to the rack every time and picked his pocket whenever he dribbled?
Yes.
And next, what do I do when I see him in the future? I can't wait for the life of me. I can't, for the life of me, go down 0-2 in a series with a 76-year-old man, but at the same time feel weird upping the intensity to get the W. Kyle?
Well, this has nothing to do with the story I was going to say before you told it. So
Here we go.
I was just going to say in high school, I was like 17 years old, and an absolutely hammered guy who was like 22, like crossed me up and made me fall. And I think he puked like 10 minutes later, but it was super embarrassing. So I guess I know how that guy feels in one sense.
You guy was 22?
Yeah, he was
Different.
Was it one of your roommates?
A little different.
Nobody. No, but I mean,
How
it was
old
like
was your
I could
oldest
smell the
roommate?
brass monkeys on his breath. You know what I mean? It was like, that guy is hammered.
Yeah.
And I think he was puking in the grass later, but it was like, he got you, didn't he? So I guess I kind of know where he's coming from. But I guess what I'm saying is totally rise to the challenge. I would say don't run this man over, but yeah, find a way to win, man. I think
Dude.
you have to play him again, no?
I don't know about that.
You're going to duck this guy?
Well, like clearly you're conflicted. This seems like a burn the tapes kind of thing. Like you just never look back at it. You don't think about it again. You just get it out of your brain.
Belichick
Yeah,
style.
it'd be like,
Yep. Bury the tape. Let's
we
do it.
got Thursday night football. We don't even have to look at the tape this week. We got to worry about the damn Commanders or whatever it is. But the whole point is, you're 5'10". What is he? 5'10"?
5'11", 195.
195. He's
benches 285.
He's too stiff.
28 minute
Memorize that.
5K.
That's the whole problem. He's too stiff. You're doing too much. You give me the whole rigmarole on what you do athletically. You got a whole fucking like a resume. And if you want to choose basketball, pick that and be good at it. But like if you're like 5K, I bench a lot. Like you're too stiff. Doesn't even sound like you were that good in high school. So the point is like maybe don't. No, but I'll be honest, because I'm not that good at basketball. I like playing, but don't pour your ego into getting beat by a 70-something-year-old guy if you're not, you know what I mean? Just beat him if he's going to play you. It's like beating your kids. Like, you let your kids play against you, you got to beat your kids. Not beat your kids.
Clip that, Mike.
This is
Clip that.
2020. But the point is, like, when my kid wants to play me in a game, I'm going to beat him. When a 74-year-old wants to play me, comes up to me and says, I want to play you, like, I'm going to beat you.
And that's important because he asked this guy to play.
You're mentally
if you
weak.
asked him,
Yeah.
to, like,
mentally
it's
weak.
a different story.
When you're shooting around by yourself and another guy comes up to you and says, do you want to play? The code is you have to take that person out.
You got it
All right.
right, wouldn't
So-
you? What would you do?
What do you think I'm still trying to do? So I played my youngest brother. There's quite a gap there. He's never beat me, and he beat me, and I thought about it for a year, and then he came back to visit me, and I beat him 11-0. And my dad was like, he's like, you didn't need to do that. I was like, I needed to do it for me.
You remember that
Kyle,
video?
but the same reason why you're still thinking about the guy that threw up after he crossed you over, that's the nugget. That's what.
I think it was because I hit the ground, less than
Yeah,
he beat me.
but here's
I
the
fell.
point. You still don't like it. You still don't like the way
No.
it made you feel. That's the lesson in all this. That's your answer.
Yeah.
I think you beat the guy. I don't know. Am I out of line? Like, I feel like I'm like being
No, because he was obviously good. And you know what he's doing?
a
He's telling
70
everybody back in his house, he's like, oh,
At the
this
fucking
35-year-old
American
Jack
Legion.
guy that may be stiff or not. I'm not sure I buy that. I beat him.
And I don't
Then
mean
he
to,
had me
You're the
870.
laughing stock of the Elks Club right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean to like shit on the guy.
Honest.
Like, I don't mean to shit on the guy who benches 280. He benches more than me right now. Hand up.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not claiming to be the basketball player.
You're a full body guy, though.
You know what I'm saying? I am a full body guy. Leverage.
So in the weeds here. That's great.
We have a few minutes here. Elizabeth's going to start lining you up with a little Q&A. We're going to start back there, and then we'll bring you up, and we'll bang that out. And then after that, Elizabeth, we're going to start them up here then? So we've already figured it out? All right, so then we're going to take just a quick break when we're done with this, and then I'll go back and do a meet and greet and do whatever we need to do, because I want to thank, again, all of you for coming out. I also want to thank State Farm so much for making these live show happen. And this is really one of the best ones we've ever done. And thanks to Chris for running the headline here. What's up, man?
What's up, guys? Big fan. Loved you guys since the SBP days. My question's for this guy right here. You talked about the Rams days. You talked about the brief Patriots stint. But obviously, there's something about here, and even though you were here 2 years, why do you feel... I mean, you talk about like, you feel it feels like home to you. It's like, what, if you had to just put it into like a couple of sentences, like what is it about this place that resonates so hard with you?
I've really tried a lot of times to put it into words. Thank you. I've tried a lot of times to put it into words. I think, honestly, it's like where I was. I don't think people realize where people are in their careers when they get to a certain place. You see a guy on a paper and you're like, good rotational piece or whatever y'all think, but like I was in the dumps, you know, like before I got to New England, I was a captain of my team. I had played in 100 games straight. I got hurt a couple years. I kind of got dropped on my ass, and then the team moved, and I had no like home. And I went up to New England, and I felt a little misrepresented up there, not in that I didn't love the place, but I didn't play to my strength. I was playing out of position. And so when I got here, I just got this incredible sense of like, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. He got this from the team store today. I told him I don't think I can pull it off, but.
Because you strapped that shit for this franchise.
Well, no, but I will tell you, you don't know where I came from. I'm not saying that in a weird way. Like where I came from was 1-15, 2-14. It was like you show up on Sunday and you know you're gonna lose, and the fans are tired of it, and the team's about to move. Like I can remember my last game in St. Louis like that. It was the weirdest shit in the world. And so when I got up here, I was just looking for a fresh start where I could go to die in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like real shit. You know, and I wanted to be somewhere where I could like die on my sword, like do what I do. And what I found in the process was like being in the right place at the right time times 1,000. And also what I found out about this city is they truly do fuck with you if you're real and you work your ass off. You don't have to be the best player in the world. And, you know, one of my biggest regrets in my life is that I didn't play here when I was 26. Y'all would have really liked me. but what I'm saying is, y'all found me, and I was homeless before I came here, like NFL homeless. Like I didn't have a home, you know. So like you guys showed me love. I'll never forget missing Kirk Cousins in my first game, like clear, wide open sack, which are harder than you think, and riding back on the train with Bo Allen and Selleck and Kelsey, and like I didn't want to talk. I was like, I just want to escape. This is going to be terrible, man. Like, and for things to end the way they ended for me, like, there are some things in life that are very sacred to me. You know, my family, my friends, but this place, I'm not bullshitting you. Like, there's just a sense of like, I love you. You know what I mean? Like when you come back, and part of it is you want a Super Bowl. So I'm lucky. I'm not saying it's anything I did. We were all in the right place at the right time. And fuck, I just love y'all, man. Like it's a blue collar city, dude. Fucking love this place.
That guy gets it. All right, let's. We got a bunch of these, so let's try to rapid fire these.
All right, it's gonna be a tough one to follow there because I'm from Boston, and
right.
my wife is a massive.
For a night, just put it behind us.
I know. My wife is a massive Eagles fan, massive Phillies fan, all of those teams, and I got 3 kids. What advice can you give me and my wife to divide this up? Where should I push? Should I give up one team? How do I make this household come together.
You let the kids pick. I really do believe you in a house divided situation, you gotta let the kids pick, but you can guide them. And I think what your responsibility is as a sports fan is to guide your kids into following and emulating the right players. That should be the key.
For players.
Your kid might pick the wrong team, but if he's like following some guy that's like an asshole or does the wrong things off the field, like I point that stuff out to my 8-year-old. Like Davante Smith, to me, I'm like, I don't care who your favorite player is, he's gonna be one of them. Because watch how he goes about his business. You know what I mean? Like, that's the advice I'll give you. Like, the kid's gonna pick. My son, it hurts me. He's a Dolphins. He likes the Dolphins a little bit. Yeah. He's like got 3 favorite teams. The Eagles are 1. But I can't change that. You know what I mean? He'll only love them more. You just ignore it and you point him in the right direction of players.
Or Celtics, Red Sox, Flyers, Eagles.
There's the ranking. There we go.
This was the most advice,
I'm
like
gonna
real
lose the
advice
Sixers to
pod
my
we've
wife,
done.
but-
This is great.
But I don't hate Boston. It's just it was dark at like 4 o'clock.
All right, I got a quick one just for Ryan. I need an ultimate ruling as the one guy in the media that I know is truly supportive. How's my hairline? Do I need to just cut? Do I need to draw the line? Is it over for me? Is it not? You're the only real supportive guy.
Pirouette? We're all buddies here. Are you single?
I'm married.
You're married, so.
So I don't gotta wait. Yeah.
There you go.
Look, my big thing on this is it's a tough day when you go, I'm going to do this. And the hairdressers always lie to you. And they're like, no, you still look fine. You still look.
Line up and
Yeah.
he's like really, yeah.
I think you look great, man.
You got a good bald head, dude. If you went bald, you got a good shaped head.
all right.
That's the
I
whole
mean,
thing.
obviously, I grew the beard out preparing for this, you know.
Yeah. How are your arms? They look.
I
you
mean,
look like
I've been
you.
back
Yeah.
in the gym for
Right.
6 weeks. You know, we're working.
There you
on
go.
it.
I mean, you can't decide to have more hair, but you can decide to have bigger arms.
So, best advice I've ever
This
gotten.
starts turning into Tom Cruise and Magnolia. And this. No.
Thank you.
They were like, what? Is he going to do it? No, he's not going to do it. He said. What's up?
Hi.
Brady guy.
Yeah, I wore my Brady shirt for you.
Oh, I thought that was somebody else. I was
No,
like,
no,
I
it's
just started reading about that.
Che Guevara?
No.
It's
That was my
understated.
second thought, yeah.
I didn't want to wear a Brady jersey and get killed. But anyways, my question was mostly for Chris and I guess Uncle Ryan too, because I know you always say that you don't answer kid questions, but you seem like you're great with kids too. As a 35-year-old like new dad, my son was born like a month after
Congratulations to
your daughter, Ceruti. But I just wanted to know, Chris, as someone who has ADD myself, like how do you handle being a dad? Like, what's your best advice? It seems like you're doing great with Waylon.
Dude, thank you for saying that. Congratulations.
Yeah.
When I had my first son, I felt like I fucking realized what life was about. I felt like I was just living for myself for 30 years and didn't know what was missing. So I think you're gonna, all these feelings, right? But I think the key is don't hold yourself to some bullshit standard. If you love your kids and you go to bat for your kids and you really give a shit about them, you're gonna be a good parent. There's a million ways you can parent your kids, but if you show them love and you're open with them and you communicate with them and you treat them like, you know, family, they're gonna be like, you know,
Yeah.
it's not overcomplicated. Just love them. You know what I mean? And be honest with them.
No, I was scared shitless about this, and honestly, like, being a dad's the coolest thing I've ever done.
Everybody in this room overcame something with their upbringing, and they all made it to the Ryen Russillo live show.
Yeah!
Ryan, I just want to know if you had any advice. I know you always say that you don't like to give advice about kid stuff, but you always do in life advice, and you always have great advice
I'm
about
just telling you, if you're on the fence about it, there's going to turn an age where you see a kid playing with his dad on the beach, and you're going to go.
You're gonna do great because you're asking.
So
Damn.
I know what I'm prepared for. I've set myself up for it mentally.
You're ready.
It involves a boat and St. Bart's, so I'll be fine.
Love the pod. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great with my kids, by the way. He
Right.
really is.
I love kids.
They love
That's
him.
the thing.
Well
Huge.
documented, everyone knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, appreciate the Magnolia reference. Top movie ever. Best. I'd
Right.
argue
That scene's
that.
not super popular in today's world, so I wasn't going to do the whole
Right.
monologue.
I would never quote it, but bold from you.
Right. I just want to.
My question's actually for Ceruti. I live, breathe, die by the NBA. Best thing ever. And I'm arguing over here with my best friend all week. Where do you see the Magic ceiling this season?
Wow.
Magic minute, start the clock.
Question for two guys in the audience. I think I sent you and Bill and House a text because Jonathan Isaac, it was like a report that he came in, he gained like 30, 40 pounds, which, by the way, you would know, you guys would, I haven't gained muscle in my life. That seems impossible in a couple of months, 30, 40 pounds.
It happens quicker than you think.
Oh, creatine.
It's so dumb. I mean, there's a couple stages in your life where you can like put on more weight, but he's been in the league 7 or 8 years, and he just, I mean, you know, unless
He's also had a lot of knee problems. Feels like weight is not the thing you want to do there.
But I just don't think gear is that big in the NBA for like defensive power forwards, unless it's Kevin Willis. But he could score.
Hey, he can shoot some
I'm not
threes.
accusing him of anything. He just had big arms.
I would say last year I was like, if they can be a play-in team, that'd be great. They obviously exceeded that, got into the playoffs. Everybody was killing me when they went down 0-2 against the Cavs. Obviously fought back, got it to 7. I think this year, East is a little bit tougher. If they can, goal should be home court. If they can get that, it's gonna be hard. But like, get a top 6 seed, maybe win a playoff series again. That's probably the goal, I would say.
Okay.
I'm not gonna bore everybody with 2 minutes on the Magic.
I'm a
Thank
Sixers
you.
guy, but they beat the Knicks in 6. No
See,
problem.
here's the thing. I was talking about actually in an Uber today. I was talking about the Sixers to my Uber driver. I think people after the Cat trade are kind of overrating the Knicks a little bit.
Absolutely.
And I think they're actually kind of underrating the Sixers and Milwaukee. So I think both of those teams. I mean, we'll see how the regular season goes. Tibbs is crazy. I mean, you would obviously weigh on this too, but I kind of.
Whatever happens the most recent, and I always bring this up, but when the Celtics offseason was adding Horford and Gordon Hayward, the Thunder added one player and then got Carmelo at the very end as like his last gasp thing. And the NBA GM survey had the Thunder having the best offseason. And it was so fucking stupid. And the only reason it won, it was the most recent thing. So I think that's what the Cat thing is. And to be honest with you, you can have Cat.
I appreciate you guys. Chris, go Birds.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, go Birds.
Question for Chris.
Yes, sir. Boomer.
What?
Boomer.
Yeah.
Sooner.
Yeah. I
usually
wore
what
for
happens.
Ryan. I tried to dress like a bro here, so that's why I
Oh, we
wore.
only have time for 2 more? All
Sorry,
right.
guys.
Sorry.
This is going to be quick. Do you think it's crazy Jason Peters just signed a contract for the Seahawks?
No,
He's
man.
42.
I know some people who are like almost 50 years old who are still playing tackle football like for no money. So Jason Peters doing it for a bag, like,
Okay.
you know, and also that guy loves ball. Like, he really could be a head coach he could be an O-line coach for sure. I mean, he was always so cool to the young guys. He taught everybody. He taught me shit. I was 30 years old. I love the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's the oldest guy in the
Good
league.
question.
That was a good
When you said for no money, do you mean like meeting up somewhere?
Bro, dudes are like playing.
Oh, dude, I was like 20 years old meeting up with 40-year-old guys.
Yeah, those guys are crazy.
Finish that sentence.
Jason Peters is not crazy.
Oh,
They're
to
paying
play
him.
tackle football on a cold field in November.
Blue collar shit, bro.
On a Saturday.
Well, after the LA
Breaking
comment
fingers.
a couple weeks ago, we just had, I guess we got 2 more, man. What do we got?
2 more. Yeah, sorry.
So I'm a big pro sports guy, but you talk a lot of college football.
Yeah.
I'm moving to Austin next week. Got a job down there.
Whoa.
So how do
Yeehaw,
I
brother.
really enjoy college football on Sunday in Austin?
I've been to Austin in like 5 years, and my friend blacked out, went missing, which kind of sucked. And then he was like, "Hey, we want nobody would know," and made the night a bit more challenging. And then he's like, "I think they're married." And I was like, "Dude, I only have 2 sideline passes. All right, so don't do that."
Okay.
But there's this. You're asking me like restaurants and bars?
No, just like college football, man. What's it like? You're
What's
a
it
big
like?
SEC,
It's way better.
is what
it's like.
That's what I need to know.
The atmosphere is way better. The pageantry is way better. The fact that you feel like you're a place that's representing. Look, I get it. There's certain cities NFL-wise, and I think Philly's in that. I think Green Bay's in that. I think the Saints are in that. But I just think it's just a different level. I prefer it more, and I would just make sure you get there early enough to walk and kind of take it all in. And I think people are going to kind of invite, hey, it's my first time this thing. Like, everybody gets intimidated by it. People down south, and I know Texas is like a little different, but I really think they get off on somebody experiencing how much fun it is. They want you to have the most fun. That's what I was experienced, but I was also on TV, so maybe I got at an advantage. I don't know. Look, everybody that we can't get a question to, we can do whatever in the meet and greet that we'll make happen as soon as we can.
One more.
All right, final cut.
Last guy. This better not suck, dude.
The producer in the house.
So close.
Don't worry, the gain on the mic's great, so like overall like audio quality is solid across the board.
Okay.
So you glazed Jaden Daniels for
I
like
did.
15 minutes on stage earlier after last week going on the Rich Eisen show saying not to crown Josh Allen because he got dogged
No,
by
I didn't
my
say that.
Ravens.
You got to listen better for a producer.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Let me do it. But I wanted to ask.
I was thinking about taking your card, but you don't listen. So and listening's the most important part. Josh Allen's the QB2 on the planet. So like it must have been somebody else talking about Josh Allen that you heard. Josh Allen is QB1 right now if you take his work from week 1 to week 4. And he's just fucking otherworldly. I talked to my dad on the phone about him for like an hour at a time. We're like, Josh Allen. He's
And
like,
flooded.
That's Howie Long, by the way.
yeah, okay. So here's the deal. What I said to Rich Eisen,
Broken
if
arrow?
you'll remember, because I talked about it today on his show, was Rich Eisen said,
I didn't catch today's episode.
no, well, if you didn't catch the other one either. So
You were picking out your kids' Halloween costumes.
okay, so here's the deal. He goes, he didn't know. So he goes, Chris, are the Buffalo Bills the best team in the AFC, if you'll remember? And I said, we're not crowning any teams as the best team in a conference, except for the Minnesota Vikings of the NFC right now. But in general, like it's too early in the season to crown a team. And I said to him, at some point, somebody's going to roll up on that team who's going to be a bad matchup for that defense who is down guys. And look what happened.
Yeah.
But you got your fan hat on, not your producer hat.
I don't. So this is what I wanted to ask. You watched Andy Dalton carve up the Bengals defense, and the Cardinals are like not a real team.
Was the previous thing a statement?
Yeah. So my question is, we see Jaden play against the Cardinals. We see him play against the Bengals. I'm really curious to see what do you think he's going to play
Dude, this
against
is just
like a
a
top 10
Ravens
team.
question, and you want him to say the fucking Ravens.
No, I don't. I don't.
This is so annoying.
Hey, by the way,
this happens
I had the over. The only thing I'm mad at is Nate Wiggins dropping that pick at the end of that game.
You
He's in the spot.
started with you glazed this guy.
I know, it's like,
That was gross,
if
by
you
the
go
way.
through the
I'm
etymology
getting that
of
content. I'm getting
when
that
you say
content
the
up.
Ravens are good.
no, like it's pretty easy to see when he walked up where he was going. He was going with some like gotcha, but there's no gotcha because if you run the tape back, what I said to Rich was, and respectfully, what I said to Rich was, it's too early in the season, as evidenced by the Commanders getting shellacked by Todd Bowles week 1, and then Todd Bowles looking like, he's got this next Super Bowl team, and then they get beat by Denver, and the same thing with San Francisco week to week. So the point is, we don't crown teams. But if you're watching the Jaden Daniels tape and you don't think he's real,
No, he's real.
I don't mean to be like reductive, but you don't know ball. And I'm not saying you. I'm not saying
Ball
you.
knowers on alert.
No, I'm not talking about you. Because I don't think you made that claim. What I'm saying is, it's not just about who he's playing against. It didn't matter who he's playing against when he threw that 3rd and 7 ball with the game on the line. It didn't matter who he's playing against when it's 4th and 2 and he's playing a game with Luke McCaffrey and he's using his eyes. It doesn't matter who they're playing against because they're that much better than everybody right now on 2nd and 3rd down. I'm not saying there won't be a game that you can hit me up on Twitter and say, hey, I told you so, motherfucker. It's a long season.
Yeah.
But I will crown Josh Allen. If I had to start a draft today in the NFL, I don't know if it's that easy.
Just don't let him play Kyle Van Noy, I guess.
Kyle Van Noy's a dog.
Yeah.
We made it full circle.
Go
We
Ravens.
back to the Ravens.
Go Ravens.
That's an episode.
Hey, look,
He came up I-95 to ask that question.
he was helping you out so much earlier. We'll be back there for the meet and greet. I want to thank the Fillmore. This crowd is awesome. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your week to come here, support the live show, and listening to everything. Big thanks to State Farm, as always, for making this happen. Ceruti, Kyle, and of course, an Eagles legend, Chris Long, and Mitchell and Ness for that
I love
jacket.
y'all.
And Patriots champion.
I got my new jacket. E-A-G-L-E-S